what is this? It looks like somebody from Dynasty. She had like, she looked like a call girl, like from the 70s or the 80s. And I'm like this. Oh, I didn't even want to look. And the jury's looking at me like, what is this? This is the victim? And I'm thinking, just hear me out. So anyway, I get cross-examination. I get the chance to get up there. First rule of cross-examination, don't do it. Just don't do it. It's their witness. You're not going to just have them say, thank you, and get them out of there. But I thought, this one I'm going to make an exception. I said, do you consider yourself a good, what did she call herself, a working girl? She had some euphemism for it. I think we all know what that means. Do you consider yourself good? Yes. Would you consider yourself a professional? Absolutely. And isn't the mark of a professional being a good liar? What? You got to be a good liar to do what you're doing. Like for the police to say, what are you doing here? Like with the hotel detective comes and goes, what are you doing here? Oh, no, I'm just waiting for somebody. You got to be a good liar. You got to be quick on your feet. You got to be a good liar. Oh, I guess. But you're not lying now, are you? No. No further questions. I leave. I sit down. I don't even look up. I don't look up. I'm reading something that because I'm so embarrassed that I got this dog of a case. And they're reading the jury instructions. And normally I'm very attentive and I'm looking. I'm like, oh, this is come back, guilty. And I said, what? Me? What? Guilty. And I'm saying, guilty of what? What did you do? What did she do? Not the call girl, the sister. What did the sister do? I don't know what she did. And I thought to myself, oh, this is the scare me. I was the one arguing. I said, I don't want any probation, nothing. I'm like, you couldn't have told me from the defense lawyer. This is ridiculous. And I'm thinking to myself, what is going on here? There's something I sound like Al Pacino, something very wrong here. Well, anyway, I've seen this a gazillion times before, where some people are hit with stuff, some people aren't. I know nobody was talking about it. President Trump was charged with doing something that doesn't make any sense. You know that what happens is, you know what an NDA is, right? A non-disclosure agreement called a hush money. Do you ever leave a non-disparagement? You work with somebody and you leave and you sign it you get your final pay and you say, and you agree not to say any bad about it. Non-disclosure. Don't tell any secrets that you've learned. You work for a BBC or whatever it is. Happens all the time. NDA called hush money. Hush money. If you and I were in a car park and we bang into each other and I say, look, do me a favor. I'll give you 100 pounds or whatever it is. Just sign this thing. Just go away. It happens all the time. That's what Trump did. And they wanted to put him away for 34 counts of this. Of what? I don't even know what he did. 34 counts. Anyway, so I'm here to tell you that the whole thing stinks. We get things right most of the time. The people who are in prison don't deserve to be there, most of them. They don't deserve to be locked up, because when you lock somebody up, when you let them out, they're worse than when you put them in there. You only want to get the people who really are bad. And when you put them in forever. You don't just put them for 5 years. What's the point of 5 years? Probation works more than ever.
Why has Jay-Z dropped the case against Busby if he didn't do anything? Surely he would be owed millions for defamation.
Why has Jay-Z dropped the case against Busby? One of the things you've got to realize is that it's better. Is that you making that noise?
No, you.
Oh, it's me?
Yeah.
What is this? I'm getting this. It's the weirdest.
Aliens coming.
Huh?
It's
the
alien invasion.
I don't know what it is. A couple of things. First, every time, I know Jay-Z's got a lot of money, but this guy Spiros makes, I don't know how much he's charging an hour, $750, $1,000, who knows? The money he's spending is just absolutely out of this world. What is the point of this? Not to mention, if there's a lawsuit, then you have a right to discovery. And that means that, okay, I sue you, and then I can bring you into a deposition, and I get to ask you questions. And it doesn't matter. Lawsuits are the worst way to handle cases. It's the worst. Arbitration is better. Just be done with this. So now, right off the bat, I don't know if anybody here is innocent or an angel. Nobody is. Look, Sean, you and I know this world that they live in. Not only that, from going back in the days of Judy Garland to you name it, to all of these people out there, these people who have been involved in the most incredible of events. This is horrible. But let me also ask you a question. What do I do when somebody who came in asking for it? Now, you know, and I know. Let's go through a couple of things. There is no such thing as she asked for it, but there is. You're not supposed to say it. Not that somebody asked to be attacked. I don't think we're talking here about people who were severely physically. I don't know the facts of the case. These are more of, it's kind of like either a consensual or maybe non-consensual through being knocked out or whatever it is. But we're not talking about somebody whose eyes are shut, they're in a hospital and they're on a ventilator. And I don't think we're talking about that. And I understand you don't have to have that. But we're talking about people who went out of their way, many of them, to sneak into these parties, to be a part of this, that means something. Is this what we're going after? We got cases of kids and women and people who some of them have never gotten out of a coma, who have medical bills and the most horrific of injuries. And we also live in a country where the particular kits, the kits that people use, I don't want to say the word, but in order to collect samples, they're lost. And we're going after Diddy? No, I mean, these women did not, bribe doormen to let them in. I'm not trying to dismiss it, but Sean, we have to weigh the realities. We have to be realistic about this.
So, Montu, thanks for the super chat. The case was dismissed because Busby didn't want sanctions. Eventually, Jay-Z still sued him for $100 million. Jay-Z dropped his sanctions to allow dismiss.
Well, sanctions are, when I hear sanctions are, there's two kinds of sanctions. Sanction means some type of penalty, either by the bar association, the people that hold your ticket, so to speak, or by the court itself. And last time, remember when Spiro, the lawyer, did the motion to dismiss, the judge went crazy at him. How dare you? And Spiro said, well, I want to get rid of this anonymous juror. There's nothing wrong with him, anonymous juror. Anonymous jurors are great. How dare you? And oh my God, I thought, wow, she just went like this to Spiro. And I thought, well, Busby's going to take this as I'm doing great. So I don't know.
Lionel was so right about these cases from the start. He walked us through the process from the point of view of the defense at times, but he was right about how easy it would be to dismiss. And people held that against you at the time, Lionel. They thought you were supporting heinous crimes when really you were just saying, here's what's likely to happen based on your experience.
Story of my life. We had a case here, a terrible case. This woman named Casey Anthony, who was charged with killing her daughter, Kaylee Anthony, drowning or what. And I said she's going to be found not guilty because there's no proof. How dare you? I didn't say she didn't do it. I said you can't prove it. Think about it, it's like sleight of hand. Did it work? Did the trick work? Was there prestidigitation? I'm not talking about that. But I will tell you one thing, and I hope these people do realize this. I hope Jay-Z and Diddy eventually get together and hold a forum for young folks who are in the business and say, if they came after me, they'll come after you. And you better watch this. You better never have parties. You better have witnesses. You better have security. They are gunning for you. They are coming after you. And there are women, and I hate to say this, and I'm not saying any of the women involved in this case were, but there are predators who want nothing more than to lure some idiot into this and have them. Do you have any idea of how many cases are filed or paid or settled out of court? And it basically amounts to extortion and blackmail. This is the biggest money in the world. Do you have any idea cases you'll never hear about? Never hear about. It's ridiculous, and it's sad.
You're getting asked about the ASAP Rocky case.
Let me see this one. Let me see what what is the latest on that. Let me see. Hang on.
I've not been following it that closely. Let me have a look as well. ASAP.
Let me see what I can do. Prosecution team, the ASAP Rocky assault case, take issue with rapper and Rihanna. So, yeah, I will peruse this one. This is not on my radar. I'm sorry to say this. Let me see this. This is from, I'm reading. This is from this week. From E! News, as the case against LSD, I can't keep track of the name.
He's accused of firing 2 shots at a former friend on a Hollywood street corner.
Oh, okay. Well, that's it?
But
aggravated assault or something?
Supposedly he didn't do it. Rihanna's standing up for him, I think.
So are we talking like aggravated assault, attempted? I mean, gunshot cases are good because either you got somebody who saw him or somebody who said, I was there, and there was no such thing as that. And you got to ask yourself, do you really want to? You know what this reminds me of in a weird way? The Alec Baldwin case. This was a guy who was charged with criminal manslaughter, and he did actually fire the weapon but it was an accident. Why do you think they did that? Because he's Alec Baldwin. It was a terrible case, and I said from the beginning, and I can't stand Alec Baldwin. He's a great source of revulsion, but he wasn't guilty of criminal negligence. I said that from the beginning. He may be a lot of things, but this is ridiculous. You got to be able to look at the cases here. You got to ask yourself what's going on.
They offered him a plea bargain whereby he could have walked, and he said he's not done it, and now he's facing big time.
Well, when you say walk, what does it mean? Probation walk? I mean, what is the term of this? Dismiss it?
ASAP Rocky plea bargain, like back time or some. Yeah. It was 180 days in prison. Was his plea deal, and now he's facing decades by going to trial. We've seen that before, where people think that they trust the justice system if they're innocent, and they refuse to sign for a little amount of time, and then they end up getting life off.
Absolutely. Hang on, there's one thing. There are some cases where you can make a plea deal. There's a name of I can't remember the name of it. There's a particular name of it where you basically plead guilty, even though you didn't. Just to think, all right, let's just be done with it. I'll take the sure thing, and so I don't know that one. That one I don't know. See, this is the one I've got to. I often learn another thing too. Is first, I don't know enough about the case, so I don't want to talk about it because you sound like an idiot if you do it. Number one. Number two, unless you're in that room, you don't know what you can't read the vibe. You can't read anything. You can't look and see how. I swear to you, I have walked into cases where I cannot believe. How do I say this? I walk in and I thought I knew what the case was. And then I see the jury and I realize that, and then I change 100%.
QQ wants to know, Lionel, if you are mocking the system for coming after Diddy because time is revealing nothing new.
Mocking the system is one thing. First of all, there's something wrong with the case when the feds are charging him for this, which amounts to basically a state case. That's number one. Number two, they're charging him with what? Conspiracy, racketeering conspiracy. What? Where they created this idea where he lured people in and he promised them. I'm thinking, whoa, wait a minute. This is not racketeering. Who is he conspiring with? Who was this racketeering enterprise with? It just, the whole case seems like it was stretching. And I think there's there's like three or so counts. And one of them is, I mean, I don't think they mention any co-defendants. The case is just, it doesn't really, that's a state case. Let the state folks handle it. They're better. Have it in California, but federal racketeering? What? Now, I'll tell you one thing, which is the most, what is this? What is something about that?
What does Lionel think about the theory that celebrity B may have put a spanner in the works by saying age is willing to testify?
I have no idea what that was. What is a spanner in the works? Is that a Brit phrase?
Yeah, a spanner in the works means putting something in the works that's going to sabotage it.
Oh, I like that. Oh, a spanner in the works.
Yeah.
The theory that celebrity B may have put a spanner in the works by saying age is willing to. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what the end of that question means either, Jane. By saying age is willing to testify. Can anyone translate that, please?
In English.
Like to
I get that
elaborate.
I get that a lot sometimes. It's a good, listen, all I know is this. When you're going to bring a charge against somebody, you better be ready to go. You don't want to bring this case up and then later hope through some kind of finagling, and now we're going to get somebody to come in and say, no, you've got the case, you've got the women, here's what they look like, you've got some kind of corroboration, something. There was give you an example. We'll get to your transportation case in a moment, but let me give you an example of corroboration. There was a woman that sued President Trump. Her name is E. Jean Carroll. And she claims, this was a civil case, she claimed some type of untoward behavior that was assaultive. And one of the ways they corroborated it was she got, a friend of hers said, I was at home and got a call from her at the time she said it happened. She was crying, saying this. And I said, well, you should call the police. At least there was kind of something there. Okay. Maybe. But you need corroboration. Sometimes there are people who, and the worst part about it is, and this is the worst part. Ladies, I want you to listen to me. I don't know how it is in your country, but in mine, the last thing in the world people want to do is to call the police, go to an emergency room. They want to forget things. They want to take a shower. They want to take a bath. Everything you're not supposed to do. And not in the case of, if I ask more women right now, how many of you during the course of your life, dating life, single life, remember an instance with a man where you're saying, I'm not sure if that qualifies, but that was weird. Or something even worse. I cannot tell you how many. So I don't know what. So remember this. The last thing you're thinking of is, well, why didn't you call the police? Call the police. It's not like somebody stole my wallet. People don't understand that. It's a different case. It's a different thing. You want to calm down. You feel, aside from being perhaps maybe embarrassed or whatever it is, you have to look at this. That's why the counselors are so important. We've got to make this very easy for women. Now, the problem also is in the case where there's no physical, you can say it was consent. I don't know what you're talking about. How do I? It's one thing when you got a broken jaw. It's another thing when you're saying, at the end, excuse me, you were on a date? Yes. And then they think you're attacking the woman. You're not. You're trying to understand the context of this. You're trying to, it's the worst case. It can be the worst case ever. Another one is the notion of, and this, let's assume, Sean, you were a single man out and about. Again, I don't know about your place, but you run into a woman who looks 40 years old. Everybody says, she's too old for you. She's 40 years old. Okay. And, well, it turns out she has a form of progeria. And she's not 40 years old. She's 16 years old, but she looks older. And even all of your friends said, she's too old